Welcome back to part 2 of this conversation.
Yeah.
We're doing 2 episodes on this one because we're getting into it. We're getting into some deep stuff, and we had just finished up our conversation. We've come to the conclusion that the kids are all right.
Yeah, the kids are all right. There is
But
light at the end of this tunnel.
There's light at the end of this tunnel.
The last episode was heavy.
It was heavy.
It started heavy.
But it goes to a good place. And
You
then
gotta
we
listen to that. You got to go back and listen to
You gotta
episode
listen to
3.
episode. Yeah, don't start here. Don't start here. Go back. Start at the actual beginning of this conversation because it's a linear.
And it comes back
trajectory.
to golden.
It comes back to golden. Yeah. No, we shared a lot of really wonderful experiences that we've had with students that we really cherish. Shared, just stories about the lineage that we have to our mentors that influenced how we teach and our teaching philosophy, and the importance of having a teaching philosophy and of using that philosophy to guide you in developing relationships with the children that you should receive.
Yeah, these little golden
reverence.
tiny humans.
Yeah.
There's also a reference to my fictitious owl neck tattoo.
Oh, you're right. I wish it's coming. He'll go through a midlife crisis and I'll convince
50.
him. I'll convince him.
I get to live
You're
to
midlife.
100?
You're midlife.
Yay.
You're midlife. Look at you. All right. This is a great conversation. Here we go.
There we go. So we began this in a previous episode.
We did.
Talking about relationship, and it became really heavy, and we don't want to do that again. I mean, we want to be respectful and treat the material as it means to be treated.
Absolutely.
But, levity is good too. A lot of people are on their way to work in the car listening to us, and we don't want to depress them before they get there.
Sure.
We want them to get depressed from their natural environment. No synthetic depression here.
And really, actually, hopefully in the last episode, you are able to experience some catharsis from knowing you're not alone.
You are not alone.
We're all out here we keep using military terms. I almost said in the trenches.
but
it is true. It's like it's at that point where, schools feel very confrontational, the whole thing.
Yeah, they really can.
How do we get around that?
But how do we get around that? And I love that we want to move into... You and I had really important mentors, relationship builders, people that dove into our lives, and there were scary moments. There were times of vulnerability for those adults and for us.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And we want to... Well, we're in their shoes now.
I know.
We're so adulting.
It's
not funny anymore because I'm super close to 50.
I actually asked some of my students the other day. I was like, "How old do you think Jake is?"
Oh, thanks.
And they were like, how are we, late 30, early 40-ish?
Yeah, kids are dumb.
They are dumb. They cannot.
I love them, but they can't read an age.
They cannot place age at all. They think I'm in my mid 20s, and I'm just like, do you see the gray? Do you see the tiredness about
Do you see
this
the
area
crow's
of
feet?
the face?
Those set in at 30.
Yeah, it was I get it. I'm very childlike in many ways.
But yeah, how weird. I remember that there's a meme or whatever going around that was I was running around looking for an adult and I realized it was me.
Yeah,
to solve the problem.
Yeah,
dang it.
I think it's George of the Jungle. It's Brendan Fraser just going because it's I'm the adult.
I guess it's me.
Yeah,
I'm the problem. Thanks, Taylor. But moving into where it's our it's our responsibility now.
It is,
right? And if we believe in that idea of it takes one invested adult, and I don't know where that fact came from. I think it takes more than that. I like that it takes a village.
It takes a community.
It takes a community.
You need community.
Which we're planning a whole episode on community building and the importance of it.
Yep.
I'm excited for that one. Mm-hmm. But do it, you know? Mm-hmm. And we have.
We have, definitely.
Yeah. It was nice going over, like,
yeah.
you know, as I kind of planning for the episode. We were chatting, and I had just yesterday morning texted a student that is now a man.
Yeah.
You know, like in college,
Dave.
you know,
Grown adult.
And because I'm listening to this really stupid book series that David turned me on to, our tech
really?
guy.
Yeah.
So I'm a literature teacher, and I read books like No Such Thing as Werewolves. I'm currently in part 3. So book 3, it's called Vampires Don't Sparkle.
Oh, calling out the...
It's silly. They're silly fictional books. But I knew, I'll name him. We're naming people, right? Because they're not currently our students, and that's okay. Yeah. Spencer. Mm-hmm. I call him my road trip kid. I think I've used that term around you before, right? We have those kids. I call them road trip kids. Like, they drive you insane when you're their teacher.
Yeah.
But they would be good on a road trip. Yeah, we recognize that, right?
I was definitely a road trip kid.
I think you're still a road tripper.
Probably still a road trip kid.
But like Spencer, I learned so much from Spencer. I actually wrote him a referral. He might listen.
Okay.
Spencer. I do love Spencer. I wrote Spencer a referral in like 6th grade. So context. I was a Waldorf teacher at the time. Mm-hmm. I taught a group of students from 5th until 8th grade, the same kids.
Right.
Family, right? It was family.
The Montessori.
Waldorf.
Or Waldorf. Yeah. Yep.
And he was part of that. And I think it was in like 6th grade, I actually wrote him a referral for waging an act of psychological terror upon his adults. I wrote that out. And I forced him to take it home for his mom to sign. And Wendy, his mom, whom I love, actually framed it. And he has it still.
That's amazing.
Because she was like, it took someone to call him out on what he was actually doing. Wow. I love you, Spencer. But
that's amazing.
That when we talk about vulnerability, right? The wrong kid, you know. I had a relationship with Spencer before I did that. I wasn't some substitute teacher walking in and calling him a little butthole.
Yeah.
You know?
Draining the hammer down.
Yeah. No. And it was joking. I sent it to him. But now, 10 years later, he's an adult. He's a grown human man. Mm-hmm. And I was able to text him and be like, bro, like I'm listening to this series and it's so stupid and you would love it. Mm-hmm. And it was like an instant reply back like, oh my gosh, that sounds so amazing. Mm-hmm. Right?
Totally.
Years have gone by and we still have relationship that's meaningful.
Yeah.
And you know, we all have that. And kind of thinking about this, I thought, I have a guiding quote. I'm looking at the painting right now on my wall. When I was 19, moving away from home, I tell that story a little bit in the previous episode, moving to the Netherlands. The last time I saw my parents for 2 years, was in a parking lot. They were like delivering me to go away.
Whoa.
And this was like I had to explain what airmail was to students.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Like super thin tissue paper, right? Like we would make a phone call like twice a year. Mm-hmm. And there was that weird delay, right? So this is a long time ago because I'm that old. But my mom she told me 2 things in the parking lot as I was leaving. Like I can't even imagine, well, I can't imagine because I've sent a child on a mission, but that's hard, by the way. But I was in the parking lot about to say goodbye to my parents for 2 years. Moving to a foreign continent. And she wrote it in my journal. There's 2 things. One of them said, there will be people in this world who just don't like you. And I was like, rude, you know, like, jeez, mom, like, really? I'm not going to, I love you too. Here's a hug. Goodbye. But no, I thought, and now I look back and I'm like, wow, like those are golden words. Yeah, there are people in this world that just will not like you. And there have been plenty who do not like me. And that's fine. But the other one that I wrote down here, the painting that I'm looking at, I've kept it ever since. It was a quote by Albert Schweitzer. And it said, no ray of sunlight is ever lost, but the green that it awakens needs time to sprout and to grow, and it is rarely granted to the sower to reap the harvest. And that has shaped how I've become a teacher. And so if we're talking about relationships, right? Like every single day, a new child walks into you, right? Like we all get to be new every day. And how many times have I and they been a little drop of sunshine to some little seed deep within them that I'll never get to watch flourish? Right?
Yeah.
Somebody else will,
Yeah.
you know?
It's all those little pieces.
It's those little tiny drops of sunlight that create that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that. And I think, you know, in the last episode when you're talking about getting into honors English. Right?
Oh,
And how important that was for you.
Yep.
And just that moment, those moments like that where a teacher goes out of their way to lift you up
yeah.
or to set you straight.
Did the hard thing.
Absolutely. And those things are important.
They're really important. And
They're really important.
And, you know, dare I say, they're more meaningful than the actual curriculum. They're the subtext of going to school.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, you know, I know like we have a very particular perspective because we're English teachers.
Yes.
Right? It's like, and music as well. Both of us taught music. You taught music for a long
They're
time.
heart-based. I did.
Yeah. Those things come from the heart. They're creative and they're also very human. Like those are the things that we study, and those are the things that we care about.
We're so gushy.
Yeah. But yeah, I was describing my freshman class they let me teach freshmen, by the way. Mistake. Jake was sharing this story with me that I love, where there was two teachers teaching freshmen, and other freshman teachers on our faculty. I love her.
So good.
She's so good.
Still the freshman teacher.
She's so
One of
awesome.
them.
She's so good at that. And she really pushes those kids, and they love her.
We're calling Samantha out.
Yeah, Samantha.
You're an incredible human being.
You are awesome.
You guide your students in true love.
Seriously.
With an iron fist sometimes.
With an iron fist,
Yeah, a
She
needful
expects
one.
So much of her students. Yeah, she's an amazing educator. I'm glad we were hired at the same time. So there were two different experiences that you could have chosen at that time. You could choose Samantha, who was much more traditional English teacher approach, or you could choose me, who was from another universe in terms of what I wanted to accomplish with freshmen. I was just like, you know what? I just really I want you to be empathetic. I want you to be open to other ideas that are outside of your immediate scope of what you know right now. That's all I really wanted them to do. And I wanted them to own that and explore it on their own as well. So it's like there was this conversation in Jake, because then this all coalesced into Jake's sophomore class.
I teach all the sophomores.
and there's this two students, one from Samantha's class, one from my class. And the one is like, asking Samantha's students, asking the other student, my student, about what we did. And he's like, did you do grammar? And the kid's like, no. It's like, because we didn't do any grammar worksheets. We didn't do grammar.
Tons of grammar.
We didn't
but
do
not
grammar in a traditional way. We did grammar in more like a feedback kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, structure this differently. But no like worksheet thing. Did you read Romeo and Juliet? No. Did you read the Odyssey? No. And then it's just like, what did you do? And the class and the kids go, so much thinking.
Yeah. I remember that. So much thinking.
So much thinking.
Right? And I love it because, both of those groups of kids funneled into my class, and they brought very different gifts with them.
Definitely.
Which is not just a nice way of saying that. But no, they really did. They brought very different skill sets.
Totally. Yeah. So So I taught this crazy freshman class
Yeah.
that was just like, not like anything they had ever experienced in their life. It was like if I was trying to teach college level English, but to a 14-year-old and like scaffolding that down as far as I could go.
Directly post-COVID.
Yeah, directly post-COVID. What a great idea that was. But,
It landed well.
I'm glad that it did. It worked out. And I had a good time, and I feel like they learned a lot. And I learned a lot too, especially about working with 14-year-olds. Like, what a fascinating population they are. But my point in telling this story was that, so I was describing all of this, all of the so much thinking of my class to my girlfriend when I was just, she was like, how are you teaching it? What are you doing? And I was explaining some of the activities I was doing and like having them do their own reading and find their own books and do their own literary journey and discover things about themselves. And she was just like, so you're teaching how to be a person class? And I was like,
Cheers.
Actually, yeah, that's like the best way to describe how I approach what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Is that, yes, that is my goal. Always to be more human, to plant those seeds of, I want you to be a good person.
Yeah.
I want you to be open to the experiences of others. I want you to be empathetic. I want you to see the world around you. I want you to embrace the goodness that is in you. I want those things for you.
Yeah.
And I want to try to plant those seeds.
You are deserving of goodness.
Exactly. Yes. And yeah, I don't know if that turns out. None of us do, right?
No. We rarely get to see it.
Rarely, so rarely. And I love that you brought up Spencer, because it's those kinds of really unique relationships that happen, a few times in an educator's lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. And especially in a traditional setting where you are locked into teaching one level for a very long time, and you see the same types of kids at the same age.
Yeah.
And like one of my teachers in high school was like, it's the strangest experience about being an educator. He was about ready to retire. He's like, the strangest experience is that you get older and your students are the same age. Every year.
It's true.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And so like, I fully recognize that a lot of educators don't get to see the seeds come to grow in that person.
Yeah.
And see how that shapes that person in a positive way.
Yeah, and it makes me think like elementary ed teachers get to witness a larger swath of time, right? If they're at a school that's small enough where, they, especially like our youngest age teachers, kinder, first, second, they get to see those kids around campus until they're in sixth grade, which is, or fifth, depending on where you're at, which is it's really special, but not every teacher gets that. Even if they're reassigned, like in a high school, maybe it's like, well, they used to teach freshmen, now they teach sophomores.
Right.
Like it's not as different. And like that, I mean, I talk about my time at a Waldorf school, and it was life-changing, and it was hard. It was really freaking hard.
Yeah, I feel like we should do a podcast on
I would like to do one
Steiner and
the whole philosophy behind it that is golden, and also there's broken parts of it. But I did get to, witness the shifting, changing child under my care. So like people that are unfamiliar, there's a looping strategy, and so like kindergarten is its own little world, like it's its own little womb. But then in best practice, if you will, a teacher takes a group of first graders and continues to teach them year after year after year, following them until eighth grade. Which is monumental, and I kind of broke that. I started in the middle. So I did I was the music teacher, and then I did like 5, 6, 7, 8, or 6, 7, 8, and then looped back and did 1, 2, 3.
Oh, whoa.
So there's really only like fourth and fifth grade that I haven't taught self-contained. I was the
That's
music teacher and taught all
incredible.
those grades.
That's
But
incredible.
yeah, and then I moved to high school, and now I've done freshman and sophomore, and to some extent other grades as an independent studies teacher. Sure. But getting to see. If you listened to episode 1, I talked about Mike Jenga. And now I look back and I realize like what a powerful seed he planted in me
Yeah.
that I had no idea what that meant. Right? You have to go back and listen to it. It's a good story.
Yeah, children that never
No, they'll never be aware of it. And
it's always
know,
in retrospect.
It's always in retrospect, but if we're talking about like how to plant those seeds forwards, it is philosophy, right? And it's a belief in the goodness of human beings. It's a belief in the perpetuation of good things, right? And like trying to assuage the bad.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say shield our children from it, but like mete it out in an appropriate manner so that they can gain, I don't know, like tools to deal with those things.
Yeah, you can't
right?
you can't hide them from the world.
We're not sheltering them, but we want them to hit things in incremental, appropriate fashions. Right. And you brought up Waldorf, and my ed philosophy. I love slinging it around all everywhere. I do because it's good. I don't have any tattoos, but that would probably be on the list with a bear and a wolf and a pine tree or something. I don't know.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
A big eagle.
That'd be so sick.
Like
Just
an
a
owl
full,
across
like,
my
that.
neck.
Oh, that would be so rad. Oh man.
Oh my gosh. All right. Away from my neck tattoo.
Yeah.
People that are only listening are going to be like, does he have a neck tattoo?
Does he have a neck? He doesn't, but it would be sick.
It would be
look.
good.
It would look really. You
would
would
be
look
good.
really good with that.
I have the attitude.
Let's look. You could totally pull it off.
I could pull it off. But I digress. You brought up Waldorf, right?
I did.
And that speaks right to the heart of me and my philosophy, which is so funny. I'm like the no tech teacher moves to tech guy.
Yeah.
Right. It's really, yeah. We'll do a whole thing on all that stuff. But what carries through with me is I was introduced to a quote by Rudolf Steiner, and it says, "No," and it says, "Receive the children in reverence, educate them in love, and send them forth in freedom." And at first I thought, oh, that's really beautiful. And I didn't understand it. Right? Because it feels good. It's a feel good.
It's a feel good quote.
Yeah.
If you just like that would look good on.
You could put that on like
on the
some
wall.
shiplap.
Yeah.
Put it on the wall.
Home goods.
And it'd be good. But I was blessed to do a master's degree in education with a focus in Waldorf alternative education. And so I got to really sit with those words, right? And sit with what that means in education. And it's become really meaningful. And so when we talk about receive the children in reverence, it's to acknowledge that like these are spiritual beings. These are little entities. These are little perfect humans that are delivered to our care. And like some of them are babies, right? Like this is a little piece of someone else's heart, some parent out there that is delivering them into your care. And so, we're talking about relationship. And so to just, I really try. This is, sorry, students that are listening, I do watch you like this. I really try to look at them when they walk in the door as a fresh start, a fresh human being.
Yeah.
This spiritual, this beautiful creation in front of me. And that's different, right?
Yeah.
That's different.
That is a different place to come from.
It's a different place. I own the fact. I honor and laud the fact that for me, teaching is spiritual.
Right.
Not religious.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's spiritual.
And I think that's where we overlap a lot too, just in the philosophy.
The spiritual nature that this is a brilliant human being with endless possibilities, with a past, a present, and a future, and I am granted a moment to be in their life. And then he said to educate them in love. So once they're under our care, I mean, there's a lot of students out there that don't feel loved by the adults who are placed in their classrooms to teach them.
No, absolutely not.
We like to say stop hating on the teachers,
Right.
but there are cruel teachers out there.
Absolutely. And yeah, I try to check myself all the time too, because you never know what's going to hurt a child.
No,
You don't.
and like we say hurtful things. We're humans.
Sometimes.
But I really try to educate them in love. And I was talking to Fawn Ruby. I love Fawn. Fawn is a administrator at our school.
Fawn's the best.
One of those genuine-hearted human beings.
Such a big heart.
Yeah, love her. But she was like, "What's your why?"
Right.
Right.
She listened.
What's your why? She was like, she found the podcast.
found
What's
it.
your why?
Yeah.
And I have to digress for a moment. Like my why, I would be remiss to say like my why is because this is my career and it feeds my family.
Yeah.
And we
That's a
can
big
gaslight
part of
everybody into saying it's for the children.
Right.
They're super important. But at the day, when the day's over, like if the paycheck stops coming, teachers don't come in.
No.
And so
This is the world we live in.
I don't want to. I want to make sure that's out there of like, what's my why? There is a financial side to my why.
Yeah.
There should be.
There definitely should
I have
be.
3 children and a wife, and this is the career that I chose. Now, within that, right? Within that comes this philosophy, and that I told Fawn. I was like, yeah. Other than if the paycheck stopped, I wouldn't come in. Is the idea that I never want to become the reason that someone doesn't pursue knowledge in the future. Like I don't want to become a wall for them. We all have things that we're ready to receive and things that we're not ready to receive, right? Like I told her this story that I'm actually very good at math. I know, I'm very good at math, but I hate doing it. And so I like telling my students that I failed Introduction to Algebra 5 times in college. Learned from my mistakes because that was expensive. But I did it, and then I was basically forced to take like a 10-day winter session class, and I got like 140%.
Yeah, just do it.
You just do the thing.
Get it done. Yeah.
But I think back because there was a moment when a teacher did not educate me in love. And I can only think that perhaps grades were due or something. I don't know, that this human moment. But I have a really real memory of sitting at a kitchen table, like sobbing, doing weeks of math homework because I had been really sick and I'd like missed like 2 weeks of school or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to that. So I never wanted to pursue math. And I never want to be that teacher.
Yeah.
The one who like
traumatized
breaks their ability. You're like, okay, you're not a good writer right now. That's fine. I hope that in the future you'll remember good times around writing. And when you're ready, if you're ever ready, you'll pick it up. Right?
Absolutely.
Classic literature, cool. Maybe you're not ready for it right now. Hopefully when you're past 25 and your brain's finished developing and all of that stuff, like sometimes we need a prefrontal cortex to read classical literature.
Yeah,
but
sometimes we definitely do.
So like, I never want to become that roadblock.
Yeah.
To prevent someone, to damn them, that's the word, right? Damnation, to stop their progression.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, I'd never want to be that.
breaks.
And that's my why. I want to receive them in reverence. I want to educate them in a loving manner with a fresh start every day. And I fail all the time at it, right? Because I'm salty.
Yeah.
I'm super salty. And then that third part is so
students love
important.
that about you.
I know, I think they do. I say the meanest things to kids sometimes and they think it's hilarious.
Well, because
I say really true things
'Cause it's in love.
in a loving way.
yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, like when the kid was like, oh, there's so many. When they're like, why did I do so bad on the quiz? I'm like, well, because you haven't done any other work in the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's not
like,
you, man.
sorry, weirdest thing ever. But then, to get to that last one, the freedom
Yeah.
to send them forth in freedom. And that's the thing. I want I want them to engage with a human being and content that humanizes them and removes blocks, and therefore can move free, unfettered, trying to remove bias, trying to remove these things so that when they get out into whatever world they're going to be in, they're able to have freedom of thought, freedom of thinking, freedom of critical thinking. Yeah. Not the way I think. I don't want to indoctrinate kids.
No.
If I could, they'd be turning in their homework on time.
Oh my God. Really? You know what teachers really want to indoctrinate kids? Get your homework done on time.
Yeah. If anybody knows how to indoctrinate a child to properly show up on time and do their work, please comment.
We need to know because
it's ridiculous.
I have no idea how to make that
work. But to me that I mean I can say honestly, like the relationship building for me is encapsulated in that threefoldness.
Yeah.
The spiritual nature of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
The time that I get with them is a beauty, and then hoping to send them forth to somebody else unfettered by our time together.
Right. Yeah.
And that is not exactly lined out in the California State Standards.
No.
That is a philosophy that not everybody holds. Somebody's listening to this saying like, no, you're supposed to just teach math. No, just teach them grammar.
Yeah.
Like, I disagree with you.
I 100% disagree with you.
Yeah.
You can't always leverage through relationship.
No.
That's for sure. Sometimes a child is just not in a place to meet you halfway. And that's fine.
They're not there.
And that's okay. That's fine.
Right? We get them for an hour.
But at least I'm going halfway. I want to meet you halfway.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm at. And yeah, hiding the world from children. Like we were talking, that's like kind of where you were going, and part of that freedom aspect where it's like, if you really do just completely block out the world for all of their education, they will not go forward in freedom because the world will happen to you.
Well, and they'll be blinded by the like going from a dark room into total light.
Yep.
You can't see anything.
No. Yeah. So that's also an important part of education, where you are going to be exposed to ideas that are contrary to yours. You're going to need to process things that are outside or at the very edge of your ability to understand. That's is education. It should be education.
Hopefully.
And you can't shut that down. And where else are you going to learn about those things? Where else are you going to have those conversations in a safe space?
Right.
What is the like
the whole thing about like banning books? You're like, if an English class isn't the appropriate place to have a difficult conversation, and explore that in safety, well, then we've done something very wrong.
Yeah. And then where are you going to do that? You're
Florida.
You're not going to. Yeah. And then who do you become? And how free are you?
No. Fetters.
No, because you don't have enough education in you.
Yeah.
You have too much ignorance in you.
Yeah.
And I mean ignorance in not a bad way. Ignorance just not having knowledge.
Ignorance is not stupidity. Ignorance is a lack of understanding.
I'm ignorant of many things.
Absolutely. You are.
Like I have
salty.
But yeah, it's just we're human beings. You can't know everything. But
well, and maybe that's where that we're talking about mentorship and the idea of we were shaped by mentors and hoping to then assume a role of a mentorship, which is a huge responsibility.
It is a huge.
It's huge.
It's massive.
Like shaping the future. Just that.
It is the future.
Yep.
100%. And yeah, for me, for my teaching philosophy, I mean, it really comes from. I mean, I had wonderful mentors in grad school at Chico State. Truly incredible educators who are kind of at sort of the beginning of their careers. Like some really important educators to me were like Dr. Kim Jackson. I'm going to use her whole title.
Yeah, you've told me about her.
I just, she's just Kim to me. And that was always what she asked me to call her. And Kim really went out of her way to mentor me in that goodness. Because at Chico State, she's kind of like the freshman whisperer. She does a lot of work with incoming first year students, and a lot of Chico State's population are first generation college students. They've never been to college before. So that is an interesting dynamic to play with, and she puts so much of herself into her teaching. She's so authentic and so genuine. So like I was a mentor in her like large jumbo classes. She would have these classes of 100 students, but then you would have 10 graduate students in there, and you would have your 10 kids that you were following through the class, and you would meet with them every Friday and do a workshop on the class, which is a beautiful model. I think it was part of her PhD work. And just seeing how she would teach and interact with students in that environment shaped so much of what I was trying to do. Like she really modeling, just teaching by example was a beautiful thing. And then also just the whole English department was actually very like a wonderful place to be. It was a real community of practice for sure. Another mentor of mine, Matt Brown. Love Matt Brown. He actually has a podcast, Otis Brown Podcast.
Oh, there you go.
As well.
Married to an incredible educator himself.
Yeah.
Becky Brown,
who is the principal of a very cool artsy charter school in our area, Inspire School of Arts and Sciences. These are cutting edge educators. These are people that were really, really progressive and had a teaching philosophy that came from the heart, and that was my training. Like that's where I started, and I feel so lucky to have been through that program, because I don't think like the average credential program builds you as much as a graduate school program does.
Good sunlight, good seeds.
Yeah. I really spent a lot of time thinking about that and knowing who I am as an educator and where I come from and what place that I come from. And then I moved into music teaching, and music teaching is like pure joyful learning. There's no.
I taught recorders to third graders.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I haven't done that one.
I actually loved it.
Just a cacophony. I've done a lot of subbing at some of those levels, and they are you gotta have something going for you.
Earplugs.
You have to show up.
And a Gen X ability to disassociate.
That's really what it is. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
But I do a lot of one-on-one teaching and mentorship, and one-on-one guitar lessons.
Yeah.
Which is a really interesting teaching modality. Like I don't think a lot of educators really get to do that. Like I think tutors do kind of, but like this real one-on-one where I see you every week and we spend
years,
half an hour to an hour together, and then there's no end date to this class. Mm-mm. You are always going to be progressing as a musician. And I have one student in mind in particular. There's many, many, many wonderful students over my career as a music teacher, but Allie,
love her.
You know Allie. And so Allie is this shy 13-year-old girl when I met her, and I helped her pick out her first guitar because she didn't even have a guitar, and it was just such an interesting like kind of connection, because my boss at the time, Sally of Music Connection in Chico, best music store in Northern California, incredible. Awesome person, was like adamant that I be this girl's music teacher. Cool. And it was like, why? Like that was the only time she ever did that. She was like, Sally, you need to teach this kid. It's like, okay, Sally does. She has a gift for people.
Yeah.
And so we like really kind of like got comfortable with each other pretty quickly. And this is a pretty shy little person that I'm dealing
Yeah,
with here. But I'm
yeah.
just like, hey, what do you want to learn? And my teaching style was always very you. Like, you have to make the decisions about what you want to learn, and I will teach you all the skills to do those things. But you have to set your own goals. And she did that beautifully. She took up the challenge, and I had the privilege of watching this student, this young person progress. And I say her name because she's 19.
Yeah.
She's an adult.
She's graduated. She's
She's at college. She's doing her thing.
she's glorious.
She's awesome. Awesome kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, she, I knew her that whole time. And working on guitar, and then she wanted to learn how to write songs, so we got more into music theory. And so I was just building all of the skills up to the point that that really she didn't need me anymore. Like, it was really like, I have nothing left to teach you by the end of our guitar lessons. But by that time, she actually went to the school that me and Jake work at.
I got to teach her for English.
And then I had her, and she helped me design a yearbook, and it was just, so then we worked together in all these different contexts, and then graduating her, like seeing the progression of a child over such a long period of time.
It's really special.
And connecting with them in that way, where there's so much heart in the music. And she's just an incredible songwriter now. Like, she's amazing. And then we've stayed in touch and continued to work on music projects together. It got to the point where I no longer have anything to teach you, but we could be creative together and work out music ideas. And I know way more about recording arts, and she'll definitely have an EP coming out.
It's so exciting.
at one point we're working on it. But yeah, those kinds of things where you see the lineage, you have a philosophy, and you take it seriously, and you go toward the human, toward the good. Yeah. And if you are able to do that consistently, it's so powerful. And like, she's reflected to me several times, like, I don't know where I would be if I never met you. Like, I don't know if I would even play guitar. And she's been through some hard things. Yeah. But been able to process those things with the tools that I gave her, which is music.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, her mom would say the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So, she had a very tragic thing happen, house fire, this last year. And she called me first thing. And her mom was like, she called you. She wanted you to be there. It's like, yes, I'll be there.
Yeah. It's special.
That's what it's about.
And it's special. It's not with every kid.
No.
And that's okay.
Because, again,
we hope that every kid has that person.
Not everyone's going to like you, right?
But I am definitely not that vibe for every kid.
No.
Like, I am a special, salty kind of vibe. Some kids like it. There are absolutely children that do not like it. I said it before. My mom said, there are some people that just will not like you in this world.
Exactly.
That's okay.
That's fine.
So, but I do think that part of our burden, it's a burden, as educators, is to seek out the kids that might not be getting that person.
Yeah.
And if not become that person for them, just let them know they're not alone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because there are absolutely people that go through school never being seen.
Yeah. And those...
I have failed to see students.
Yeah.
We all have.
Yep.
But trying to see them, trying to instill, I see you. I know that you exist on this planet. I know that maybe you're having a hard time right now, but right now is only right now.
Yeah.
I see that you have a future. Mm-hmm. I see that you are worth time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
valuing a child.
Yeah.
Like accepting them in reverence.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact
word,
receive them in reverence. And, like you as a parent, like that must be a terrifying thing
Absolutely.
to hand your child off.
And sometimes
to a
it goes
whole-
foul.
To a whole system. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like I have been the yelling parent in an IEP
Yep.
because my child was not being revered.
Mm-hmm.
He was not even being cared for.
Yeah.
And
Just put somewhere
my son
else.
listens to this and he knows. We've talked a lot about it. He was treated very poorly by a lot of education.
Yeah. Yep. When you're outside the mold a little
Yeah.
bit, sometimes you just don't fit in. And you can't be made to fit in. And those
So
are the kids we're
seeking
really
out those kids and just offering them, hey, like maybe I'm not your person,
Yeah.
but I want you to know your person does exist.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Because teaching's easy.
Yeah, it's so
Jeez.
It's all just philosophy and relationships and
Just read the script.
community and
I know.
and all those all the most difficult but most human and most necessary things.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we'll flip it. Those who can't do, teach. And what it is that they cannot do is be good humans. No, that was too salty. But like, seriously, like if you can't do relationship, don't be a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
For the love of all that is holy.
my God.
If you are not being served in teaching, if you are miserable, if you hate it, if you don't like being around kids, if you don't want it, please leave.
Yeah. Because there are other jobs out there that would pay better.
And the kids deserve humans. The kids deserve good people.
They do.
Yeah.
Not to say that those people are necessarily bad.
No,
Just
just in the wrong placement.
Yeah.
If you're miserable, find happiness.
Yeah. I think the hardest part with that though is just that teachers they get trapped.
Oh,
And
so
the
trapped.
most easily manipulated workforce on earth.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we're very lucky in California to have a very strong teachers union, but like,
Yeah, but still, like we're gaslit up and down the hill.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's for the children,
It's for
Nathan.
the children. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Why would we pay you more? That means we give less money to supplies for the children. Like what? That doesn't
make sense.
Okay. We've all heard that exact argument. Well, we can't give you. Anyways, I'm digressing.
Yeah. That's another episode.
podcast. Yeah, I've really enjoyed talking about relationships.
Yeah.
It started off really hard
It did.
because we did, for listeners that just joined us, we started with the previous episode and we have continued to record it in one setting, and we talked everything from school shootings and a child that committed suicide near our community.
Yeah.
Through relationship, through mentorship, through all of these ups and downs of being a teacher and what brought us here as human beings, and hopefully we're passing on some kind of goodness to these kids. And if you're a student out there that's listening, if you're one of ours, we love you.
Yeah.
We do.
You're the best.
Yeah. Not always easy.
No.
That's what the staff room's for. We can go kvetch with people.
Go in there.
I got another email with no subject heading.
When am I gonna get your work that I don't have for weeks?
Yeah. But that's all tertiary to more important things, and we see it.
Yeah. The relationship is what's number one.
Yeah. Which, leading to, we've talked about another podcast episode, the priorities of the state of education
Yeah, I think that's the next
are
one.
out of alignment,
Yep.
right? Mm-hmm. Because I cannot offer them a grade and credits on relationship,
No.
which happens to be the first two priorities from the United States Department of Education.
Yeah.
Health, mental health.
Health and safety.
Health and safety, and then mental health and
then
wellness,
academics is number 3.
Academics is the only thing we test on.
Yeah. And then
super
that
broken.
determines the funding for the
And
school.
that determines the funding.
That directly influences priority 1 and 2. So
It's so broken. It's so broken. All right.
yeah. And again, like, we're stubborn people.
Super stubborn.
And weird, and have lots of different skills and talents. Like, I don't have to be a teacher. I could do
Yeah.
tons of other stuff. I could be on the road right now. But I chose this for a reason. And I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm here at an alternative ed school for a reason.
Right.
And I was very uncompromising in terms of like where I was going to get a job. As soon as I finished my credential, I knew I couldn't do the same old thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure
And if it were
something-
only about money, like I can double my income by going to another school in their same county. But,
yeah,
we don't.
no, because
We love it here.
we can do the thing.
We do the thing. We get to be
relationship thing.
humans. We get to be.
Yeah.
We get to do those things. We're very lucky. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's a good one.
This is a good conversation.
I'm a little glad it's over.
Yeah,
It was heavy,
it was heavy,
but it's important. It's the things that. I mean, why do we not tell kids that how much they mean to us?
Yeah,
Right? Like, why does that? Where there's a barrier. There's a barrier,
I feel
right?
like
Keep
it's-
it professional.
it's
But
cultural.
but
It's,
why-
We're afraid of it. We're afraid of it.
we spend a lot of time with kids,
Yeah,
and they become meaningful to us. They shape us,
absolutely, for sure,
dude.
If you're not letting your students actually teach you, you have to be
Yeah.
open to that. You have to be open to that, because for one, I'm not always gonna be cool.
No.
One
day you'll be old like me.
I'm falling out of coolness rapidly. I've got a couple years left in me.
Yeah.
But the kids are cool. The kids are cool. And
so cool.
And they teach you so much about the world around you in ways that you have forgotten. Because they are experiencing the world raw.
I believe the children are our future.
Really?
Teach them well
The children are our future?
and let them lead the way.
No way. What?
Thanks, Whitney. But yeah, lightheartedly, they are cool.
Yeah.
Kids are fun to be around, and for those people that are hurting, that are teachers, and they're not fun to be around.
Yeah.
And you don't enjoy being around our youth.
Yeah.
And you're not fed by them, and you're not filled emotionally and spiritually by them. And if you can't combat the pressures of the environment that you're in, because there's a lot of crappy environments for teachers out there.
absolutely.
There's terrible. I cannot negate
So
that.
toxic.
Right? But like, if you can't
keys
get
your
out of
classroom.
it, if you can't change it, if you can't shift it, if you can't find a way to be happy, to be positive, to be successful, to be healthy, please don't be around children.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No shame.
No shame.
If you cannot bring yourself into a place where you can receive children in a healthy manner, please don't.
Reverence.
Find a healthier place for you.
Yeah. Because all you're doing is putting up walls, closing doors. It's you really see that. You see that in children when they've really had a hard time, when adults in positions of authority have been unkind to them.
Yeah.
Like, remember that you have all of the power in that dynamic. All of it. You're dealing with a child.
Yeah.
They're going to come in terrified of you to start with. I always like to start out classes when I'm just meeting students for the first time by acknowledging that I am also terrified of it right now.
Yeah, right?
I'm just like,
Yeah.
you guys seem nice, but I don't know you, and this is really scary.
Yeah.
Because it's a weird, teaching is a weird dynamic.
Teaching is super
socially
weird.
and relationship, but But that's what's the most important thing about it.
Yeah,
You have to be
when they
romantic
see
at
that,
those
like,
things.
oh, you're the sage on the stage,
Mm.
and then they meet you, and they're like, oh, you're actually kind of cool, and you're flawed, and I kind of like those flaws.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Back to vulnerability.
Yeah.
Being vulnerable, being human, being those things. You know, like I talk to the kids all the time, where I'm like, wow, I'm having a really hard day. I can't focus on anything. Like my ADHD, or like kids are tapping.
Oh yeah.
And I'll be like, bro, like my ADHD
I
cannot
cannot.
take that right
I
now. Can you help me
cannot.
out? Can you please find a softer way to make that clicking?
Yeah.
Can I give you a pill? You know,
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And students like will derail me in my thoughts, and I'm just like, help. And
Yeah,
then somebody
help,
will be like, you
I'm
were talking
stuck.
about this. Oh yeah, okay.
yeah, to be human, to be flawed, you know, not like my learning disabilities are the same as some of my other students.
Yeah.
You know, and yet successful English teacher.
Use your tools.
Yeah, like I'm a terrible speller and a very slow reader.
There you go.
And yet, oh, I like to be. All right.
So, one final story.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about just students listening to the podcast. I had a really interesting interaction. I was at the mall of all places, getting some new Vans, and I just saw a student I know from her school, and just passed right by her and was like, "Oh hey," and just kept walking. And then I'm like 20 feet away, like I'd forgot, like wasn't thinking about anything, and she turns around and like yells at me, "Hey, I like your podcast. I'm really interested in what you have to say." And I was just like, and this is not a
It's so
student. That's my
funny.
student. I don't.
No.
They're not in any of my classes. They're not. I don't even know them that well.
Yeah.
But it was just like it was such a funny moment. I was like, really? Right? All right.
Okay,
You're all
cool.
right. The kids are all right. Man.
They're gonna be fine.
The kids are all
The
right.
kids are all right. All right. We're all right too.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming. We'll see you on the next episode.